Now I always like to go ahead and tape my card front down from the back of the stencil. That way it's taped down, it's not going to move, and your tape is not in the way of the stencil, so you can get a full stenciled background on your card. I've just squeezed out some of those pops of color, and I'm taking this scraper from Scrapbook.com, and I am just going to spread it all over my stencil. And I'm putting more of these drops, and I'm kind of squeezing it all the way down in the areas that I want it to go. This time when I took my scraper or spreader, whatever you want to call it, I had more drops to spread, and it really got into that stencil and made a really fun background. Now, if you want to, you can kind of scrape them into each other so those colors blend a little bit, and that's what I did. And I really love this mod circles background with that pearlescent pops of color. It really looks like it's meant for stenciling. You get a nice even application.
It is probably fastest if you do all of your sentiments at once. Here I'm taking some Scrapbook.com tape runner, and I did not feel like taking all of those sentiments off of the plastic, so I just adhered the plastic to my mist tape, and then I can just do it all at once. I am definitely going to be using my anti-static powder bag like crazy here. And so once I do that, I take my Scrapbook.com embossing ink, which is a juicy. I thought for sure I was going to have to stamp this a few times. This was a one pass. It's going to be awesome to have all of these done and off to the side, so that when you are ready to assemble your cards, you're going to be able to just pull it out and go. With this set, I'm actually going to do bubble cutting with them. So what that means is I am cutting around the letters of the sentiment, and that adds such a wonderful element to the cards.
So who would have thought that using this intricate die would create this entire pattern? You would think that when you cut it like this, it would just give you one band, which isn't a problem, but if you use it over and over in a repetitive pattern, you can create a whole card front cover. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So what I want to do is I want to lay this down with a little bit of a border and run it through my machine. So this one, it cut beautifully, and I want to make sure, just by showing it at the bottom, to make sure the blades cut all the way through, and it looks like they did. You want to carefully peel it away. You don't want to have anything tear after all that hard work. And look how perfect that is. So I want to create the repetitive pattern with the same design. So I'm going to go ahead and try to match it up as well as I can. Okay, that looks about right. So after you line it up perfectly, you run it through the machine, and it cuts it perfectly and lines it up just like that. So all you need to do is run it through one more time, and it'll create the perfect card front cover for a beautiful card.
The first background we're going to make is using Simon Hurley's Lunar Paste, and this is in the Bee Sting, which is his basic true red color. As you can see, we peel it back and it reveals this beautiful candy cane stripe. I'm just grabbing Tim Holtz's reindeer die. This is a Biggs die, which basically means it can cut through pretty much anything that scissors can cut through. Chipboard, fabric, leather. Just going to add some distress ink, ground espresso to the body of the reindeer, and now I'm just taking a vintage photo ink pad, scraping it along the edges to create a little bit of a little level of grunge there, I guess. And this is just a piece of green metallic cardstock that I had in my stash. It's got some foam squares here that I'm popping on the back of the reindeer to kind of give it a little bit of loft and dimension. Very simple card, you know, but I think, you know, having contrasting colors and bold colors like this kind of really makes it pop.
Right here, I have two magic mats in front of me. I have a magic mat that is warped. So if your magic mat ends up warping like this, it should be flat like this. I am going to show you how you can get your magic mat to look back to its original state and be flat. So let me show you. I've got my heat gun here. I'm just going to turn my heat on. Wait a minute for it to get really warm. And then just by adding some heat to the magic mat, it will flatten it all out. You can do this in warm water, or you can do this if you live in a hot temperature climate. You can literally put this outside in the heat and let it sit out there for a minute, and it will go completely flat again. I tried that here in Arizona, and it worked fabulously. After it's heated, it will be pliable and soft, so once you put it down and let it sit there for a few minutes, it will harden up and go back to its original form.